Just a moment. Okay, so you should be able to go ahead and hit. Still takes a second for it to spin.
There we go.
Okay. It's not working on mine, but
I'm live.
okay.
I'm a little frozen
Okay.
live.
All right. Well, we won't worry about mine. Hopefully Ava's is up and running. I will
Yeah.
chat. Oh, Ava's live on hers. Okay, perfect. All right. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We have an incredible Q&A that is live today with the amazing Samantha Lander. Samantha, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm excited.
Oh my gosh, me too. So Samantha has joined us before. So for those who do not know who Samantha is, she's joined us already as a core contributing expert inside Life Network. And we had a podcast together a couple months ago, and we kind of scratched the surface on some of, alcohol topics and things like that. But today we want to go a little bit deeper. We've had a lot of questions about, alcohol specifically geared towards women and kind of the emotional side of it too. So we're going to dive deep into those. But before we do, Samantha, I know we kind of went over this before in our last podcast, but kind of give people a high level overall what you do in your practice.
Great. So I am a functional diagnostic nutritionist, and then like personal trainer. I have a whole background on that. But basically, throughout my personal training career and learning that I wasn't getting better, doing all the things like counting calories and working out all the time, that I had to realize that it was a whole body approach. And so I started running the functional labs on myself, and then I wanted to be able to integrate that into my personal training business. And then eventually I kind of just merged all the way over into doing this full time with a kind of a specialty and helping women who are either I just decided I'm not going to drink this summer, or I just wasn't feeling right. I was getting all these hot flashes and night sweats. All I know is maybe it's the drinking, or someone who is like a full blown alcoholic or addict that gets sober, or sober curious, that is just, they quit, they ditch the booze, and then they just like they feel bad still. And
Yeah.
everyone thinks like, oh, I'm gonna lose weight, I'm gonna feel great, everything's gonna be wonderful. And it doesn't always happen that way because of the damage that's been done. And so I kind of help facilitate and educate them on that to feel their best.
Awesome. So amazing. So I know, yeah, a lot of people appreciate kind of like your raw and real approach to it because
Ah,
you've walked the walk. You've gone through it
yeah.
backwards and forwards, inside and out.
Yeah, I'm also a full blown alcoholic and addict. So that helps
Yeah,
qualify
and
me.
you have that past and that history, and I think people can appreciate that instead of just somebody, touting from, their own experience. Everybody has their own experience and story, but you've gone through a lot. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's been a
oh man.
journey.
Yeah. Master's degree in some of the
Yeah,
things that you've
yeah.
learned, right? I'm
Well, it's
sure.
funny because I get people like just got hired by two really big DJs to basically help them like be able to party, but like live that lifestyle and travel all over. So like because
Right.
and they hired me over like some of the more like MD of functional medicine and stuff like that, because they know I have a background in like knowing how to party and like manage it and
Right.
how to do it and do it all
Oh
together. I'm
my
like,
gosh.
okay, well, add that to the
That's
clientele.
hilarious. I love it because you
Yeah.
moonlight as a DJ, right? So
I do. I'm also doing that now too. Yeah, I'm out of
I know.
retirement.
I know, it's so
Fun.
fun. So follow if you have not followed Samantha yet on her Instagram, it's at C Fit Living, correct, Samantha?
Yeah,
Yeah.
SEFIT, not the letter C.
Yes, yes, perfect. Thank you. Follow her because she's always has, shares snippets of her life, but then her nuggets of wisdom too. So, oh my goodness. Okay, and then I want to start getting into the topic on alcohol, and we're going to kind of start pretty deep with some of the emotional topics and emotional questions that we've received. So, the first one is going to go ahead straight into it. Was it scary for you to open up about your drug and alcohol addiction, and did people judge you?
This is a good one because I actually just filmed a podcast with a woman who had spent the first 13 years of her sobriety not telling anyone.
Wow.
And I can't even, and she asked me like, so what was it like? Like, were you nervous? And I never had any doubt. Like, I took it on like a badge of honor right away. Like, I don't think there's any shame in saying that you are an alcoholic or an addict or that you're
Mm,
sober or anything like that. So for me, it wasn't scary. It was like, it was a relief.
Yeah.
It was the answer to like why I never really felt normal. So
Hmm.
I always wondered why I couldn't drink like other people, or why, you know, I just I didn't feel right in my own skin. I could be, and I always felt very alone. And then once I like kind of like stepped in the door of rehab, I realized like, oh, there's a name for what I have. And like throughout my addiction, I think the first time I had 13 years in relapse,
Yeah.
and I think that after the relapse, I realized 180% that like addiction and alcoholism is a full blown disease, with how hard
Right.
it was for me. If you do not like treat it, you're going to relapse, however your form of treatment is.
Mm.
And I think it's becoming, I think today though, it's trending to be sober and like sober curious, and like the
Hmm.
mocktail movement. It's crazy. Like it's just kind of like the cool thing to do. So I think it makes it way easier, but nobody has ever judged me. And my story, or go listen to the podcast. I mean, I've been in prison, and I was a meth addict, and I did a lot of crazy, embarrassing things, and
Right.
nobody judged me. It's what you do with it, you
Is
know?
so true. Okay, so then what helped, is there anything that kind of helped you tell the truth before you had all the answers? Because it was such a, like, you were in such a learning process through all of it, and you didn't have all the answers, I'm sure, like you were just trying to figure it all out as you go. Um, what helped you the most throughout this process?
Um, oh gosh. There was so much that hit me because I had so many like legal things that I didn't
Mm,
know. It was just so
shoot.
much unknown when I first got sober. I think that once I realized that y- y- an addict could be your kid's third grade teacher. It could be
Right.
your neighbor, it could be
Right.
your sister, your brother. Like I don't look like someone who's been in federal prison for, over 2 years. And
Yeah.
so like I don't think like you can't judge a book by its cover with that. And for me, I had to realize that like I'm just like anybody else who could be shooting up heroin out of a car. Like
Mm,
addiction doesn't discriminate, I
no,
guess
it
you could
doesn't.
say. And
True.
that, once I realized that like I am one, and like I can't, like I'm powerless, I think that's when that was kind of the game changer. I know people hate to say the word powerless. I feel like I have power by not drinking, but I really
True.
was pretty powerless.
I would
And
imagine.
I would say I took my power back by getting sober, but I was pretty
Yeah.
powerless over it, especially the alcohol.
In the process of healing and recovery, felt like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And for me, I knew I'm a kind of a know-it-all. I'm very like stubborn, very like determined. I'll figure it out on my own, very independent. And for me, I really, that's when a lot of humility and letting go of ego was a really big thing that I had to learn. And
Mm,
in doing that, I just sort of told everyone who was supporting me that my best decision was my worst, and you can make any decision for me. Because what I was deciding to do with my life was
not good.
not good.
So you had some good
And it
people
was
around you.
scary. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was kinda I think I was scared at that point. Like, I was like, I really thought I was making semi-decent decisions, and I just
mhm.
wasn't. Yeah.
Because your judgment was clouded probably of, like,
Oh,
and
yeah,
knowing who you really were as a person, because maybe that was kinda covered up with things that you
for
thought,
sure.
who you were in the past, and that person was no longer there, so
Yeah, yeah, my moral compass was definitely not in
Mm,
line, and it kinda happens. I mean, it happens to anyone. Like, I know, I mean, yeah, I was selling drugs, but when I relapsed and was drinking, it's like there's a lot of, moms and like glamorization around like the wine culture
yeah.
that's what really appealed to me, I
Mhm.
think. And I had a baby, and I wanted to fit in, and I didn't think that alcohol would affect me the same way that the drugs did. Maybe I don't know, maybe I didn't think I was fully addicted at the point, but like it's that culture that it's
Mhm.
just so widely acceptable that you can like drink at the pool with your kid all day, and you can, when it's really like that to me, that's really not the normal. You're not present, and you're not being the best parent that you can, and it's really hard on your body,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, so I wanna get to kind of the effects of that too, but kind of speaking before we dive into the effects on the body and specifically for women too, I wanna get a little bit more deeper into a woman who thinks that she's quote unquote fine with her drinking, but is not quite sure. How do you know if it's a problem or not?
I always say, like, when I'm talking to someone and they're like, "Well, I'm gonna quit for a while." I think if
Mhm.
you ever have to quit something, it's usually a sign that there's probably a problem or
Right.
overabundance of it, whether it's like sugar or like, I think I need to cut back on running so much because, like, your body's
Getting beat
hurts
up.
or yeah.
Right. You're getting
So
injured.
I think that's like, and then if it's causing problems in your life, like if you don't want to be around, I was getting like this. So just speaking for me, like I really felt like it was really hard to have like dinner dates with my husband at the time,
Mhm.
but I would start drinking and then I would be fine. It's like, are you using it to like cope with like the anxiety of your kid at the end of the day?
Yeah. Oh, we just lost your audio, Samantha. Sorry. Nope. Shoot.
Hold on.
Uh, There you go.
Okay.
Okay, you're back. Yeah, so you're
Can you
covering
hear
it
me
up.
now? Oh,
I can hear
I'm
you.
back.
Yeah, you're back. Um, you're covering up a situation that you don't really want to face, like the hard day with kids or a relationship with a
Yeah.
spouse, significant other. So you're not really
Yeah.
facing
Yeah.
the real issue that's happening underneath.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think
Mhm.
that if you are drinking just for the pure joy of it and there's not a lot of like, you're not using it as a tool, as a coping mechanism, I think then, and you don't have to be an alcoholic to have a problem, you know,
Right.
I don't think at all.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah, what do you mean by that specifically? Like for somebody
so I think
who
that, yeah, I mean, I think that, some people think that if they only drink only like every other weekend, but when they go hard and they like binge drink, like, that's a
yeah,
problem.
yeah.
Some people could just have one glass and be done, but like if you're having a glass of wine every night, that could be a problem.
Mhm.
I think that for me on my end of it, like I'll never judge anybody by what they're doing or what they want to consume. I like to educate people and help people understand, like, honestly, like the effect it's having on a female body
Mhm.
is pretty like extreme in my personal opinion. I mean, I'm seeing it there's not a lot of studies done on women and alcoholism and hormones,
Yeah.
unfortunately, yet that I think are great. But I see it just in the lab work and working with women. So that's
Yeah.
how I've seen hundreds of women. So I'm kind of go by that.
So I wanna speak to that a little bit more so 'cause, we have a question on this one too, specifically about what are the symptoms that you see in a woman's lab work, that might is currently drinking or recently stopped?
So with women, the biggest thing that I'll see on their lab work is a lot of hormone imbalances. So there'll be like a lot of times a lot of high estrogen will come up on the lab work when I see it. And so when you have high estrogen, you're going to have more PMS, more mood swings. Your liver detox is impaired. I mean,
Mhm.
the hot flashes start, the night sweats start. You feel like you're kind of like in perimenopause and you're not.
Right.
Cortisol, there'll be a lot of cortisol dysfunction too, because every time you drink, it's a stress response in the body too. So I think that's something that's significant. But then if
Mhm.
you do like a basic like metabolic panel, you'll see like a lot of this goes across the board for men and women. Um, it depletes a lot of nutrients from your body. So like your B vitamins, your magnesium, your zinc, your vitamin D,
Right.
your amino acids, glutathione, all of these get very depleted. You're not absorbing your food in general as
True.
much, so that's going to impact. If you're not able to absorb like the fat that you're eating, it's going to affect your hormones too. So, but a
Is that
lot of estrogen dominance.
is that specifically affecting women differently with their hormones than men?
Yeah, I think it's definitely different. Women's the way the body composition. Women have more body fat and less water, so you'll see a difference in how we are affected. We also like we will. It doesn't take us as much to get drunk or to feel the buzz or any of
Right.
that because, we have, more body fat. I mean, obviously other things take in consideration with that,
Mhm.
but yeah, we'll see a lot more of that with women.
Okay, so those are some good red flags to look out for on labs, because they could be taking all these supplements to optimize for longevity and then not
Yeah,
able to absorb all the
that was
nutrients because the alcohol is basically like blocking it in a way.
yeah, that was me. I was like the healthiest alcoholic when I relapsed. It was like a mess.
Interesting.
But I was
I
taking all
want
that, but I couldn't put on muscle either at all. And I think
Oh,
I mean, I've gained a lot of muscle since I quit drinking,
have you?
for
Okay,
sure.
so
Oh yeah.
I want to speak to like that little part about what your relapse because you were 13 years sober before you relapsed. Is that
Mhm,
correct?
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then I know we touched a little bit on mommy culture, well, mommy wine culture. And then so how did that kind of spur into your relapse a bit?
I mean, I was literally in a breastfeeding class, and I was really struggling with it, and the woman said to me that I should start drinking wine. And like that was like my go. Like that's all it takes. Like, well, they say like with addicts, like it's very cunning and baffling. Like we'll always have a voice, or we'll always say like, you deserve that. Oh, you deserve that brownie, or
Yeah.
go ahead and have that drink. And I was like, well, it's been 13 years and I never really drank before. Like it's fine. Let me go ahead and do that. And then nobody said anything, because it's like, but I fit in again. Like it was crazy. Like I was like
Mm.
invited to more things, and like it was definitely a difference by having the mommy wine culture is a real thing.
Yeah.
Um,
How long did that
I
last?
even um, so I relapsed. It was a couple years that I relapsed. At the end of COVID, I kind of got my shit together. But so now I really like reached out to a lot like even the St. Louis like mom networks and like the trivia nights, like to make sure they always have like mocktail options, or they make
Okay.
that very clear, because a lot of these events though for women are like Margarito Tuesdays, or
Yeah.
they're all alcohol driven,
Yeah.
and they don't know. They just don't know what they don't know. And so
Why
when they start, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say it's more do you think it's more normalized for women in a social aspect than men more so or equally or just kind of targeted different?
Don't know.
Yeah, I
I
know
don't
because
know. I mean, I'm
we're
not like in it so much with like the men. At that point, I was just sort of staying away from men. I was just getting out of my divorce. But I mean, I don't know. I don't hear men, like my male clients, like glamorize it. They just drink and they don't talk about it.
true.
But and I don't feel like there's a lot of, I mean, maybe, I honestly don't know. There's a lot of events centered around alcohol.
Yeah,
And I think then people started saying, "Oh, we really like that. Oh, thank you. I'm glad there's these options. Oh, we made sure there was sparkling water for you and whoever else who isn't drinking." So like I go to stuff now, and people like in St. Louis and like the big networking stuffs and the big events and like
yeah,
even school stuff, they are they're better about doing that. So it's just education. They don't even think about it, you
true,
know?
because it has been normalized for so long, and do you
Yeah.
even more so than, like, drugs specifically, right? It's
Yeah. Oh
more
yeah.
normalized.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
But it's I think too, like with women, they also don't think like anyone's like not drinking. They don't even like process that through, because a lot of people aren't as open as I am about it. Like you should see how many people will come up to me and be like, say, "Oh, like I don't drink either." And then like, and I'm like, "Oh, I like wear it on my face." I'm like, I
which
just
is
tell everyone like,
Yeah, which is really helpful, I think, so they know that they
yeah,
can approach you about it, whether in person, like you probably see, moms at school and stuff like that, but then online, they know that you are speaking your truth and you wear your heart on your sleeve, and there's like
yeah,
no fluff answers, and like I'm sure you've seen it all, you've heard it all with the excuses, and I know you were talking about, we always can easily come up with an excuse to rationalize,
oh yeah.
to the point of like all the way to like go as extreme as all the way to the deathbed, right? Like it.
Yeah, I mean, I was having full-blown panic attacks every single night, hot flashes, night sweats, and I'm at this point, it was very well educated on like how alcohol impacts the body, but I was in like denial still. Like I still was like, that can't be it. This has to be my PCOS.
Yeah.
I mean, my PCOS was bad because I was drinking so much, causing a ton of blood sugar issues, causing
Oh,
my
wow.
hormones to be imbalanced. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's my PCOS, but what's causing my PCOS to flare up? It's alcohol. So
Okay,
Yeah.
so then how long did it take you? Because you said you're able to put on muscle now, like, how long did it take you to kinda,
Oh
like, get your
yeah.
life back on track and start to gain muscle and all those things?
Oh, I mean, I felt good pretty quickly. Well, I also then started that whole mouth thing,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I don't know. That's not, I'm not the right person, but my clients feel pretty good within like a month or two, depending
Mm,
on if they're like lab testing clients or they're just doing like nutrition and we're just getting like the foundation of nutrition and blood sugar together. But I think that teaching your liver, our livers are tend to be really congested at that point. So teaching your liver like how to start to like work and detox and get those drainage pathways going again is really important, even if it's just something as simple as like castor oil packs or,
right.
you know, just jumping on a trampoline, like,
Lymph yeah, lymph drainage. So,
yeah.
I wanna speak a little bit more to that too, because I know this kinda tees up with it, with liver and being woken up around, like, 2, 3 a.m. Like, why is that happening? And then kinda speak to, like, the liver, the detox, and castor oil packs too.
Oh, I know. So our body, like usually, I guess between 1 and 3 is when we typically start to detox, and our liver goes into work, right?
Okay.
So if we are drinking alcohol, it's basically our body goes into like fight or flight, and it's
Mhm.
in the like I'm going to protect you mode every time we have alcohol. And so what its first defense is going to be is to remove the invader, and the invader is going to be the alcohol. Is the best way I can describe it. So
Yeah.
they're gonna, it's always gonna choose to remove that invader. And most people are already dealing with what I would say is a pretty like sluggish liver due to like burning soy candles and poor diet. And I don't know,
Mm,
they might fly an airplane a lot or whatever it is that they're exposed
EMF,
to. Yeah, just a lot of
a lot of
toxins
things.
that, yeah, that they aren't working like you and I, we
Mhm.
do a lot, if you're out drinking and partying, like I promise you, you're not like sitting in front of a red light. I mean, maybe, but so it's kind of like a fuck you. We're gonna take care of what we need to remove this big invader. This is what's stressing us out. Our cortisol goes up, and in the process of that, like that's a stress response. So our body will wake up trying
Mm,
to go through that, and so that's why we tend to wake up when we drink. It also affects, I think, your REM sleep pretty significantly too. Like you have a hard time
okay,
getting into REM.
okay.
Um, so
So then is your body waking up because it's just trying to process so much and it just like it's like done and it just wakes
yeah,
up?
it's a stress. It's kind of like a stress response on the body.
So
So your
wild.
cortisol just sort of spikes, and then it's just kind of like, okay, I'm gonna flush this out, and this is gonna be my
Okay.
duty. And I mean, that's the best way I think to put it
Yeah, yeah.
in like layman's terms, so people can
No.
understand that like you're not gonna detox like all the things that you need to. And I think in turn, you cause a lot of like malabsorption and gut issues. And I can't tell you how many people I have who are, just got sober and they are not pooping. Like they just don't poop. I mean, I don't like 5 days, 6 days.
Oh, geez, that's
So
not
like,
good.
for that, I know I'd
Because
be
their
very,
body was either A, so damaged or and now it's like what's
yeah.
happening there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've damaged like their hydrochloric acid is so burnt out in their gut. They're not digesting their food properly.
Okay.
They don't their vagus nerve is probably pretty damaged, and they're just not
Mhm.
able to signal the body to try to like flush out
Mhm.
um excess bile, and
That's
poop.
crazy.
I mean, obviously there's gut infections, so I think there's a host of like the candida, the yeast, the fungus, the
True.
like bacterial type infections.
Yep.
I mean, there's parasites, but those like the SIBO, those are the ones I see more of the constipation or like the diarrhea with.
Yeah.
So I think that having those high sugary drinks all the time and creating a leaky gut and
Mhm.
a lot of inflammation in the gut, then you will definitely be constipated.
Okay, that's interesting. So then
Mhm.
speaking to we have another question on the gut and neurotransmitters. So how does that drinking also affect serotonin, which we spoke to a little bit, but dopamine and all the neurotransmitters?
So, well, serotonin's made in the gut, a significant amount of it, and I think it's like 90% of your serotonin is made in the gut.
Mm,
So, and all your neurotransmitters are made in the gut. So, if you start to damage your gut, you're not going to be able to make, your dopamine, your neuronephrine, your serotonin. So, you're going to start to see a lot of mood disorders. So, anxiety, depression, your motivation, your sleep will be disturbed, things like that will start to happen a lot more, I think, when you're not able to produce the proper amount of neurotransmitters. So gut
Okay.
health really is the key. Like once you get sober, then obviously get your hormones and your detox pathways working, but then start to once you feel like you've gotten strong enough there, then start to tackle um, the gut. But yeah, a lot of the depression, I mean, it's almost like a postpartum when you quit too. You're losing
Yeah.
your friend. You're losing your friend.
Mm, right. Yeah, your quote unquote friend who helped you kind of like numb out to the things that you didn't want to face.
Yeah. That or it makes you like an introvert and extrovert. I'm an
Mhm.
extrovert, so I can't like I kind of became an introvert when I drank.
Yeah,
But a lot of you'll hear a lot of people where like it makes me more outgoing and then I feel more comfortable and I can talk to people. So
true.
like when that it's liquid courage. I mean, there you go.
Mhm.
You know.
So then speaking a little bit to the detox part, and for someone either, sort of curious and they're still having drinks from time to time or is fully sober, what are you doing your castor oil pack nightly? Any other extra detox protocols that you throw in for
Oh,
people who
so
are
I
kind of
would
both?
yeah. So I really like I mean, there's a couple supplements that I would do. I really like the Designs for Health, the LV. It's like LV-G, I think. And
Okay.
then the Amino Detox. Like I kind of rotate those with people. And I find that they're gentle enough that they're not going to get a lot of like symptoms where they're like super nauseous and they feel really
Yeah.
bad. And that those are ones that I feel safe, like the general Gen Pop could like just go
Okay.
try. I really like those. And then castor oil packs are great every night. I would do that bad boy every night,
Yeah.
for a while, and then eventually you can like I mean, eventually you'll just get sick of it. It's sick of your bed being gross and having a towel on it. But I
Wear a
mean, it's
t-shirt.
like, right? You could do, infrared sauna, start to
Mhm.
detox, sweat it out. Infrared's better than just getting in like a hardcore steam because it's less
Mhm.
aggressive on like your adrenals and your cortisol. So it kind of like pulls the toxins from the inside out. So I think that's just a better route
What about,
for
like,
doing that.
activated charcoal binders?
So well, I mean, if they're sober now, I don't know that there's like a lot of use yet until we get into like doing like a gut personally for me, like unless you're doing like a gut protocol. So if we start
Yeah.
trying to kill things in the gut, then we start to use some of the binders depending on what we're killing. But if you're drinking and you want to, not be as hungover or not feel like it's as toxic, take some activated charcoal before, always have a meal, take it
Mhm.
before you go to bed. But remember that if you take your other supplements, they're going to be absorbed too at the same time
They will. Yeah, they'll be binded to
or
it.
medication. Yeah. Everything
Yeah,
will be
yep,
binded up. Well, I always
to
say it's
your
like charcoal. It's like when you go to the hospital for like alcohol poisoning or food poisoning, they give you charcoal to absorb everything.
yep,
So
they do.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna take
yeah.
not just that, but everything else along with it.
Yeah, but I think everything, I mean, we could get into the whole biohacking thing, but I think really just in nutrition, like watch your sugars, and make sure you really balance your blood sugar, getting that carb, fat, protein every single meal, and try not
Mhm.
to eat the carbohydrates alone so your body can reset. It's a lot. I have people who quit and it's, a year or two out and they're still struggling with blood sugar. So it's not a quick
Really?
fix. You've been
Okay.
drinking for a long
Because
time. I don't think so.
because really
Or a
trying to
lot of a lot of
repair.
like pre-diabetic. Like a lot of people quit drinking because they're like, well, I just they say I'm a pre-diabetic, so I just need to get this in line, but I know I've been drinking, and so that's
Yeah,
their shoe in.
so it
I
takes
mean,
quite
it's
a while. That's
yeah,
their wake-up call,
yeah,
possibly.
yeah. And they might not even have a problem, but I mean, their body's telling them there's a problem. If
Mhm.
you ask me, you know.
Oh, very true. Yeah, like you were saying, in the labs, it's gonna show up. So, like, if somebody does wanna work with you then, tell us, first, like, I know you have your 15-minute clarity call, right? That people could and we'll
Yeah,
make sure we drop the links to
it's
that and how
45. It's 45 minutes.
Oh, really? It's 45. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. That's
Oh, yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Well, I
So,
do a full health history from like the day they were born and then all the way to how they are now and how they feel and
wow. Okay. So we'll drop the link to that so people can grab that
yeah,
link and, sign up for a clarity call with you if,
yeah.
any of this is resonating or just curious about it, or wanting to a full detox. So then what is the next step from there? Like, do you get blood work from them or
Yeah,
different?
so the next step, so I kind of build the house. So I start with the nutrition. So we'll do a food sensitivity test, and that's a blood test, and I'll give
Okay.
you a blood draw location to go do that, and I'll send all the kits. And then I use the Dutch panel, which I'm sure you're familiar with, where
Yeah.
we do like adrenals, we look at the cortisol, we look at neurotransmitters, we look at like some of the organic acids and kind of get some markers there. We'll do a full metabolic panel. We'll typically get that covered by insurance, and then a GI panel.
Okay.
Um, but I don't do like I mean, I'll coach you a little bit in sober, but I'm not like a sober coach. Like that's not
Like in
my
terms
thing.
of,
There's just a lot of that out there right now.
yeah, there is.
But that
But I'm sure
disclaimer.
that it comes up in the conversations, right? And if somebody
Yeah,
is
yeah.
okay, and
I'm
they're
I'm
wanting,
very supportive, and I give them resources, and I'm happy to, I will never say no to anyone who wants to talk to me
oh
about
yeah,
I need help. I'm gonna, that's part of my service work that keeps me sober.
hmm
Um, but I think there's just so many. I would say be careful when you're looking for like the sober coaches, and make sure they have like over 2 years of sobriety, and they aren't. I think it's important not to trash any of the modalities
true.
to how people get sober. Like I'm not AA is not for everybody. Sober coaching could be for something, but I would say just be very careful on people who don't have a lot of sobriety who are
hmm
coaching you, because
Okay. So they're both, yeah. And I wanted to kind of touch on that too for people who are interested. But yeah, there's good
yeah,
thoughts on sober coaching because we had
yeah.
a question on that too. So sober coaching versus the
Oh
12
yeah,
step. So
yeah.
if you had any other thoughts around that in general.
You know, I I'm a firm believer that the 12-step program works really well. I've seen it time and time again. I mean, I've been in the rooms for like in and out, for over 20 years.
Mm,
But I know that, some people, it just doesn't work for some people, and that's fine. I think that again, you got to find what works for you.
right.
But just remember that it is a disease. Like if you are like if you're just getting sober, you just decide fine. But like if you are an alcoholic, that it is a disease, and if you don't treat it with something all the time, just like anything else, it will come back. So you
Yeah.
have to treat it. And I think there are amazing sober coaches out there. I just think that the ones that are going to talk negatively about other programs or say this doesn't work and you need to
hmm
do mine, and
hmm
AA is a cult or things like that. I would stay away from it. I mean, I think that's just kind of negative. I If a sober coach works for some people, great. Just make sure that you pick someone who has a good chunk of time.
Yeah, no, that's really good
You
because yeah,
know,
there was a question on if some people do think it could be a cult too, so or makes you feel broken.
uh,
But like you
yeah,
said, find out what works best for you. So
yeah,
if that's what works
yeah.
best,
Like anything, like
100%.
I own a cold plunge company, and I know cold plunging does not work best for me now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it works great for other people. Or,
right.
some people love breath work, some people love
Mm,
meditation, some
mhm,
people, some people like yoga, some people just lift weights, it just
mhm.
depends.
Yeah, do what works best for you and makes you because
Yeah,
we're all bio individuals, so find out,
yeah,
and trial and error and experiment and
yeah,
maybe interview some of the sober coaches, try some of the 12-step programs. So yeah,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
there
As
will be
long as you're
one.
on a healthy path, I think
Good
I
point.
think
Yeah.
try everything, try anything once. Try anything once or twice.
On the healthy
And
side.
like with AA, like I mean, I'll say like NA in St. Louis, like the meetings are awful. So like
Mm,
I don't even go to them.
okay.
So I always tell people if they just get sober and they want to try a meeting, like I always say, go to six. Go to either if they're a man or a woman, like go to some for like if it was a woman, I would say go to at least three women's meetings and
Mhm.
go to at least three non-women's meetings and try them all. They're all so different.
Okay.
And the nice thing about it is you meet other people that are sober,
Exactly.
so you build that community, because then
Yeah.
you meet all people doing what you're doing. Then I have people who I
Mhm.
can go on play dates with, and I don't have to worry about like, let's go drinking, and like, because everything was around drinking. Even when I was like got sober, still it was just like, oh my
Mhm.
god, all of it
Yeah,
coming from the girl who like DJs raves.
I know you do, which is so funny.
Okay, but I do that. I know.
So you're not, yeah, which is so cool that now, like, you're at a point where you're completely
Yeah.
strong and, you know,
Um,
you can put yourself in situations like that and be fully sober. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm just always treating my disease the best that I can, I guess you could
mhm,
say. So for me, I just look at it like, I want to leave a really, really good legacy for my child. And at this point,
mhm,
I've now had a relapse, and I have my other little journey. And so I've made the best of it, and I've done good work with my bad, with my
You
mistakes.
have.
And
You for
so,
sure have. Yeah.
like, if I die tomorrow, what are people going to say at my funeral to my kid? And
Oh,
that's kind of
oh,
what I think, like, on my daily thing. And then for me, I just think about, like, especially recently, it's like all the time that I missed, even with my kid when I was drinking in the beginning of his life. Like, he doesn't remember, but like I miss like those special moments.
right.
And I say, well, I'm gonna, if I drink again, I'm gonna die. Like, I don't know that I have a lot of lives left in me, you know.
Yikes. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, you were doing everything that you can, to offset
yeah,
everything else. So,
yeah,
and some people don't do any of that and they,
no.
you
And
never know.
helping others, well,
Yeah.
and it's like helping others is always a really good reminder for me, and like of where I've been or where it could be, or it's real.
Mhm.
That's why, I mean, that's part of the 12-step program, is like you do
Yeah.
service work.
Right.
And so like I work with the girls in juvenile detention. I work like anything, and it
Mm,
just reminds me of like it could get worse, or we don't know everything.
yeah.
So
That's so true. Getting outside
yeah,
of ourselves because a lot of times we're just like so focused inwards, right? And then
yeah,
paying back, paying it forward and helping other
yeah.
people really
It's
kind
huge,
of
and then you feel I mean, you really do feel so good doing it. Like,
Mm,
I mean, how many people, like, I don't know, you pull up on the side of the road to a homeless guy and, like, you give him some snacks. Like, do you feel
right.
bad about that? Like,
No,
you're not gonna feel
no.
bad,
Yeah.
you know? And it's gonna
That's so
help
true.
you, that moral compass that we just lack it. I feel like a lot of people lack it. We're so, like, in it, in the zone.
We are, yeah, very focused internally. Was there specific mindset shifts that you had to kind of go through? Like, because yes, you do have to do a lot of internal work, right, in order to with your healing. Any
Yeah.
specific, mindset shifts?
Oh boy, I'm always trying to do mindset shifts. I always
Mhm.
say, like, if I could, like, I don't know if I can, like, being in recovery, like I just need to go do a bunch of ayahuasca and puke out all my problems. Like, can I just do that? But I
Right.
think, I think expect for the first year, even if you aren't like a full blown alcoholic, you've probably been drinking to like
Mm,
not feel some emotions, and you're gonna feel them. And for
true.
me, like, I was going through a really, really difficult breakup this last time I got sober. And I just remember, like, I'd be on Zoom calls and I'd fall under my desk and just start crying. And I was like, I feel again, just go with it. Cause it's like you get to feel the feels. And for me, having the mindset of being like, I'm blessed that I get to feel my feelings again. They
Mhm.
hurt, but I'm not gonna die. And it always gets better.
And that's
You know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because sometimes when you have those big emotions, you're like, "This is the end."
Yeah, and then
Like,
it's just so painful, but it makes you stronger. And I mean, it's hard for me to reach out to people, but it gets you to a place where you gotta reach out to people. And I mean, I was in therapy. I did it all that first year. I was like, fuck it. Like, I don't know. Like, I was so shocked that I had such a hard time getting sober, and I didn't totally understand why it had gotten to the point that I
yeah,
had gotten to. Like, what was it I was running from, and like the feelings. And so, like, between
interesting.
like somatic therapy and like the breath work, and now, like, I just was saying before we got on the call, it's like the womb healer I'm going to see
Yeah,
has been like a miracle. She's like doing all my chakras, and like, I'm
yeah,
telling you, like, I
yeah.
can't
It's
tell you.
working.
It's working. That one so far, that's the best out of all of it. It's like, I'm
That's
like,
so
I don't,
cool.
like, I need more of her. I was like, wait, you're gonna be out of town? I was like, it's like a drug.
No. Too funny. So, but it kinda speaks to, again, like, you have found, like, what works for you right now, and that's what's working for you, kinda
Yeah.
helping you light up
Yeah.
and kind of, like, really do that internal healing, So, again,
Yeah.
like, maybe the womb healing wouldn't work for other people, but it's definitely working for you right now, so
Yeah. Yeah. And I think sometimes you gotta remove yourself from a situation that could be causing you to a trigger.
True.
You gotta remove the triggers too sometimes, and that's the hardest part. I mean, a lot
Yeah.
of people are in a horrible relationships. Like, we'll just be real about it. Like, I can't like divorce my kid, but I mean, I guess I could, but I'm not going to. But you know what I mean? It's like sometimes these relationships, it's like, partner may choose to drink still and you aren't. And like, what are you gonna do? Like,
Yeah, it's tricky.
that's a big one. I see a
That
lot
is
of, yeah.
that is a big one for sure. Yeah, that's a whole another level of probably help with counselors if you wanna
Yeah.
work on the relationship together, and yeah, I'm
Well,
sure
it's
that you
just
probably
like,
outsource
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
that.
But I think that's a lot too, like when I work with people on nutrition and you see it as, people obviously they're very attached to food, but
Mhm.
if two people go in to like get healthy together, like a couple,
Yeah.
like I always think that's kind of a bad idea because it typically doesn't work out well. And if one of the partners is doing better than the other tends to sabotage. There's a lot of or like
True.
down talking or like when you go out and like they're like, why are you eating only broccoli and salads?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Yeah.
what's wrong with you? Like you're anorexic. Like when you're like clearly not, you're just eating clean food.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
a lot of that. I mean, happens with
Mhm.
anything. And I think that's something I definitely get into like really teaching my clients just in general, like on a daily
Yeah.
basis with like the nutrition. It happens with a lot of things. I think I mean, food addiction is huge.
Yeah,
That's
very.
why I love that. Yeah, that's why I love that food sensitivity test. Is it's
Yeah.
for addicts. Well, when you eat inflammatory foods, you get that like, inflammatory response in the
Yeah.
body, that feel good
Right.
response. So then you want to binge more on
Yes.
food and sugar and all that. So
Yeah.
getting those inflammatory foods out's good. Yeah.
Oh, goodness, yes.
So
It's
much.
it is so much, and but thankfully, we have people like you to kinda help walk us through it because, like, if we're just trying to, like, help every single area and nutrition and heal our gut and, you know,
Yeah.
wean off of alcohol, all of those things, we can't do all of those at once, probably not. I mean, you could, but it's helpful to have
Yeah.
somebody to help you out with that.
It is. It is. Yeah. It's hard enough to just stop just in general, even if you don't have a problem. It's just hard,
Yeah.
you know. It's nice to
Yeah.
check out. Trust me, I still have days where I'm just like, man, I wish I could just check out.
Mhm.
But I try to do it through yoga and like, you give people other modalities to choose from,
Right, because
you
there's
know.
a lot of yeah, some people are like, "Oh, I hate yoga, so it's not gonna work for me." But yeah, what are some other things that you suggest for people to do to replace that
Mm.
checkout mode with?
I mean, my biggest thing is like I tell clients, like the ones who are drink a lot or don't drink a lot, is always like take a walk.
Mhm.
Like start with something simple like that. Take your dog out, take for a walk. Like, oh my God, the dog park. Do you have a local dog park? I lived at that damn dog park when I first got sober.
Oh,
It was like my
yeah.
saving grace. I was like, okay, let's go to the dog park.
Totally, that's a good idea, yeah.
Movies are great. I
Yeah,
check out when I go to a movie. Like,
right, because 'cause you're
um,
almost in another world.
oh yeah, I love it. Like anything like that, or like a musical or concerts would probably be a little iffy because there's a lot of drinking and stuff like
True.
that.
Right.
But I mean, yoga, getting to the gym, throwing on headphones and just
Mm.
kind of checking out and working out on your own. What else is there? There's so many things people can do. I don't
What
know if
about
you
any
like
of, like
fishing, go fishing.
go fishing? Yeah, totally.
I
So I
had
love
I had one person, I told her, I was like, just go dig a hole. Like I literally was like, she'd be like, I really want to drink. I'm like, go dig a hole in your backyard. And she would go do it. And she's like, I feel better now. Whatever.
yeah, what or
It's just
gardening.
something to,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's just a reset. It's just a way to like get that reset from a habitual habit. And usually if you
Right.
do it about 27 times, I mean, obviously there's like a disease to come into play, but if you're just trying to kind of quit drinking and you're used to like every day at 4 o'clock, find
Yeah.
a new behavior every day at 4 o'clock. And
Right.
that's kind of like I know what I had to do. Like that was my wicking hour, and I'd be like, all right, go in the dog park,
Mhm,
you
and
know.
that
So,
and make it easy, like, easy to go to the dog park or easy to,
yeah,
do the yoga class, whatever it is, like, take out any resistance that might be in your
yeah,
way because it's
yeah,
very easy to, like, open up a can or pour a glass of wine and,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Get it all out of your house for sure. Yeah,
100%. Yes, exactly. Okay,
that's
any
great.
other things? I know there's, like, so many things out there on the market too that people are, like, with kava or, like, any other, like, sober curious or not curious, but
Oh,
replacements for that you would recommend for drink.
there's so many. I think any of the neurotropic drinks are great. I would
Yeah,
always say like the mushroom drinks, any like the seltzers are fine. I would say just watch out for high fructose corn syrup,
yeah,
any of like the preservative, like benzoic acid and things like that. Some
yeah,
of the really clean ones might have citric acid, but then watch out for sugar. Xylitol, most of it's derived from corn. So if you have a
yeah,
food sensitivity to corn, be careful.
right.
But brands, oh my God, brands. You're really gonna ask me that? I don't even know. I know so many.
Okay,
I used to get so many sent to me in the mail.
I'm sure.
And like, I mean, there's so many like non-alcoholic options. Like I don't do that, but there
Right.
are a lot. I mean, a lot of people can do that.
Mhm.
because they actually like the taste. Like,
The
I
taste.
drink to get drunk. Like, I don't even like the taste of any of
It's
it.
not
So I'm like, I don't understand it. But I mean, there's a lot of like mocktails. I mean, you just have to Google it or find there's some really good the Sober Girl Guide. She is a good Instagram account. She usually
Oh,
posts
cool.
like really clean, like neurotropic kind of drinks. And
Okay.
she,
Yeah.
I think, sells some CBD gummies too. That
Oh,
like
cool. Yeah.
CBD is a good one. I do CBD drinks. There's a brand called Mighty Kind
Okay.
that's actually made here locally, but you can get
Oh,
it
nice.
anywhere, and I love it. Uh, there's yeah, but I don't drink. I don't. It's hard enough for me to just even drink water. I'm not. That's my downfall. I'm
Oh,
not a
that's
good water
funny.
drinker.
As the nutritionist, you
I
should
know.
probably
I know.
do you put, like, Element or anything in yours?
No, I have more Redmond's electrolytes. They kind of sponsor anything I do, so I have a
Oh,
lot of
good.
Redmond's. But
I love it.
no, I have my Echo. I use my Echo.
Yeah.
So I try to get like 3 of those, but then I was realizing it's so little that I wasn't getting enough water. So now I'm back to like adding in my other big Yeti and
There
chugging
you
that
go.
every day.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
I
So
do a lot of
then
other things.
a lot of good tips. We'll make sure to link down below too.
Mhm.
A lot of those things that you mentioned, because that's super helpful. Because I know a lot of people are looking for the replacement of the drink too, specifically. Like it's the habit, like you
Yeah,
said.
if you want
Absolutely.
to know like other drink options and stuff, then just let me know. I posted some mocktails in the
You
Go
did. And
network,
like,
and
yeah.
then if I can do some research on the drinks, and if just DM me if you want to know if someone really
That would
wants
be
to know.
awesome. Yeah, yeah, put it if you have that, and we can post it in Life Network too, and,
Yeah,
because I know some people are curious or, really trying hard to replace it,
yeah.
as much as they can. So, are you using, CBD, like, for nighttime too, to help you sleep, or
I don't personally, but I use it with some clients. But typically, I
okay,
can get them to sleep by fixing their hormones in their liver.
true. That's a good point.
So, yeah,
Very
we
good
start
point.
with that.
There you go.
I think
Okay.
that I think some of the supplements have become a little bit of like band-aids, just like, medication
Yeah,
has. So
very true.
if you get the body's like, organs and everything functioning properly, if it still doesn't work, then I think throw in the CBD, unless like people just aren't sleeping and they need sleep, I'll be like, take the CBD.
Yeah, because there's a lot of supplements out there with CBD in it to kinda help with
Yeah.
sleep. So, okay,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
to know. Can you speak to why some people get hangovers and others don't?
Yes. So it kind of comes down to genetics, hydration, liver function, and like how much inflammation in the body. So some people have more of an enzyme, acetaldehyde, and
Mhm.
so it's a toxic like byproduct of alcohol. And if your liver can clear that quickly or not, that kind of depends on whether or not you're going to get super hungover. Some people do not. Like I have a friend of mine, he never had a hangover once ever, and would like drink bottles of wine a day. And I'm like, and
Wow.
I didn't really get any hangovers, and that's why I think I was okay.
Yeah.
And then they started to happen like at
Oh,
the
really?
end. But I think dehydration and poor
Mhm.
sleep are another big factor that will worsen your hangover. If you drink on an empty stomach or the sugary
Yeah.
drinks for sure will give you a bigger hangover. The
Yep.
wine will give you more of a hangover. And then women tend to feel worse because we have so much like hormonal sensitivity with drinking. Like so, for
Right.
men, it doesn't affect their hormones as much as women. Like for us, it just destroys our hormonal system. Like
Mm.
I don't even know. I don't think any woman should drink.
Yeah.
I know that I sound like an asshole, but like I mean, if you're gonna do it, have some gin, but like it's so hard on our hormones.
Yeah.
And I'm dealing like every woman I talk to has hormone problems. Like I don't really have any that are like, oh yeah, I feel great. Like how everything's perfect. Like most have like
Mm.
hot flashes, night sweats, they're exhausted, or like they're getting heavy periods. And I
Do you
think
think
perimenopause is trending though, I think too. So like now
it is?
everybody's talking about it, and like
They are.
everyone's
Yeah.
all into perimenopause, and like now
Yep.
I'm in it. And so I
I
think that
do.
like everyone
Mm.
wants to find the perimenopause solution. And I think that's causing this like sober curious thing that was like in the millennials to
Right.
now like be trending with like the 40 plus women who are like, I
Mhm.
cannot drink. Like they just
Yep.
can't do it
Yeah.
because we're just so overloaded. Like I just life today is so different with all the processed food and the EMF and
Yeah.
the toxins. Like we're already just it's adding fuel, like literally adding fuel to the
Fuel to
fire.
the fire. Yeah. microplastics, all of it, you name it. Yeah, we just live in a different day and age now than say
Yeah.
like 30 years ago with our moms. So
Oh yeah, and then throw like alcohol on it. I always tell people, would you drink hand sanitizer? Because it's the same fucking thing.
yeah.
You know, and they're like, that's crazy. I'm like, well, that's what alcohol is made of. So imagine what
Yeah.
it's doing to your gut.
Yeah, that's true. So then what about for the person who talks about GABA, resveratrol, and wine and the benefits of that?
So alcohol, there are studies showing that alcohol does increase GABA, and it can, and the resveratrol can be good for you in
Right.
wine, right?
Right.
But the amount of wine that you would have to drink to get the benefits of the resveratrol, I mean, you'd be so, it would be an insane amount. So it's better, I think, just to take a supplement. And then you can, I don't think that drinking alcohol is personally how you want to help produce your GABA, especially with a female, because it just has so many impacts on everything else between your mood, your sleep, your liver, your hormones, your gut health. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, it's out. Like look at the pros and cons. Like why don't you
Yeah.
just take like a supplement or some sort of herb that has like a GABA like precursor, like L-theanine or magnesium.
Yeah.
You know, there's like chamomile, passion flower, like
Right.
things like that are just like a nutrient rich diet instead.
Yeah. Without all
Um,
the negative side effects. And like you said,
yeah,
drink a ton
yeah,
of
to
it.
help get your GABA. Yeah, there's better
Yeah.
ways to get your little GABA fixed.
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah. That's good. Okay. So super, super clear on so many tips that people can do for, just to help if they're curious, but then people who are really wanting to take a deep dive with it. Speak to the person who has been that long time heavy drinker and they're like, there's no hope. It's too far gone. Like speak to that person.
Oh, you're not too far gone. You're not too far gone. Nobody's too far gone. If you think like that, you will become too far gone.
Yeah.
So coming from me, who was like, I like to say, when my first chapter of like drug use, I mean, I was doing a lot of GHB and smoking meth, and GHB is made with concrete cleaner. And I mean, the drugs I was doing and the stuff that I was putting into my body, just alone with what had done to my gut health,
Yeah.
was awful. And I mean, I had a lot of problems. I had acne and chronic diarrhea,
Wow.
and this is when I cleaned everything else up. But once I did all the functional stuff that I do with my clients, and I ran my labs, and I took a good couple years of like a lot of work of different ways of healing my gut and like kind of retesting and finding like more parasites. I had multiple parasites and some bacterial infections. And
Yikes.
I noticed like for me, it's like as you peel the layers, like I kind of would wait a year and like I would start to feel weird again. And then I kind of get back on it. And I think that the parasites will come back around for a while. But now, I mean, I've had a pretty clean, after my relapse, like I had no gut problems. Like, I mean, I had hormone problems, but like
Yeah.
my gut never got how it was before. And like,
That's good.
I was also like dealing with all those mouth surgeries and I had to do afterwards went right, like this is when I was sober, but I was going to like a lot of rounds of antibiotics and all that. So I
Yeah.
think all that work that I put in, if you do the work and you just stick with it and you're diligent, and there's
Yeah.
going to be, sometimes it gets worse before it gets better. And if you just keep going through it and you have a good coach that will support you and say, it's going to be okay, the bloating's
Yeah.
normal, whatever, that you can heal your gut 110%,
That's so
120%
good.
you can heal your
That's
gut.
good. Okay.
If you want, I mean, if you don't want to, like you also got to, I mean, you got to do the work. It's work.
Yeah. The mindset, like we talked
I
about,
mean,
and work.
yeah. I mean, I can go and eat, I like Chinese food. I like
Yeah.
donuts and I'm not a real big sugar person. It sounds like I am, but I like buttercream, like white on white buttercream, like wedding cake. Like those are kind of my weaknesses. But I can say now, like if I went and just like plowed a big piece of it, I would probably feel fine. Like maybe a little bit of sinus like inflammation and like my knee might hurt a little bit, but otherwise, like I can do it.
You'd
And
be fine
that was not the case when I like first,
the first time. Yeah.
just
Because you did all of the work and you continue to do all the gut work because now it's just a part of you. And like, the nightly castor oil packs and you do all the hard work every day.
Yeah.
So, but now
Well,
it's just like,
the deal.
I
It
do, yeah.
becomes a way of life. Like you're
Totally.
doing it. Like you just it's not as time consuming as you find a way to like integrate it, and there'll
100%.
be phases. Like I was looking at my red light mask on the floor of my bedroom today. I'm like, I should probably do that. Like
Mhm.
I move it more in my vision line, thinking I'll
Right.
like do it. But
Yeah.
like I haven't needed it as much because I don't have so much inflammation from all my mouth stuff. So
Mm.
it's like I'm like it's nice to have a break, but then you get
Oh,
on
for
something
sure.
else.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
okay to cycle things for sure too, and also, like, take a break from things so you actually realize, like, "I actually did really like that," and add it back in, or if you notice the effects of it too. So I do that from time to time too to, like, really kind of
Yeah.
look at everything that I'm doing because sometimes it gets to be a lot that I'm doing, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I should probably peel back a couple of the things, but yeah, habit
Yeah.
stack
Yeah.
as much as possible,
Yeah.
so that's good.
And it's also like I think too, you like you can't like my biggest thing recently, I have a lot of conversations with some clients that spend a lot of money to work with me. And I'm like, you have got to do your nutrition. Like, I don't
Mhm.
understand. Like you will buy every device and do that, but like you can't out hack like poor nutrition.
That
Like
diet.
I was like, you're putting sugar, like you're literally picking up a spoonful of sugar and putting it into
Mm,
your tea. Like, can we
yikes.
just start with not doing that? Like, I don't like
Just a
you
little bit.
want me to coach you and tell you all these supplements and these new things. She comes on the call with like a list of things. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
you stop spending money on that and stop. You know what I mean? Like, get rid of like. I'm like, what kind of bacon are you eating? I'm like, what are you eating? Because it's
Mhm.
always like a battle. She's
Yeah.
like, okay. She's like, you're so mean to me. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like,
I'm not
you
gonna waste your
know,
money. Yeah, you're paying good
yeah.
money for my
Yeah,
time, so
yeah,
I'm gonna speak the
you're
truth. I love it.
sweetie.
That's good. Yeah, those little things that we do sometimes hang on to, like sugar or whatever it might be. It could be something different, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's good. Okay, so I want to be mindful of your time, Samantha, and kind of wrap it up with a couple of last rapid fire questions to
Oh
wrap up
boy.
our time. I know. Okay, do you prefer more of a morning detox time or evening wind down time? What's like your best time of day to kind of self self-care?
Oh, I do it all in the morning.
Morning, okay.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Evening, you just, like, go to bed.
Yeah, I'm done. Like,
Oh,
well, so on my bed, I have a biomat, and
yep.
then I will have like a red light there that I use sometimes. Um, but yeah, my new thing is I turn my Wi-Fi on a timer, which has been amazing. I
Yes,
love it.
yes, that's
So
such a good
everything just
thing.
shuts down. But I try to go to bed early, like 8 or 9, 8:39, and then I believe I like in my mind, I feel like I can bank sleep, but I can't really. But I'm definitely like I am a morning person. Like I was up at 4:30 today.
Oh, wow.
Um,
I love it.
yeah, doing some
Good.
stuff and then going to
Getting
yoga.
after
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Good job. Okay, what is, one supplement that you never skip?
Ooh. Uh, Probably my probiotic.
Mm,
Or right now I'm doing the orthomolecular
mhm.
support biotic, but I just started. I kind of stopped my liver support. I don't know why. I was like, let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
And I just added in that amino detox from Design for Health, and I can tell a massive difference.
Okay. The
Um,
better in a better way?
so yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
just feel
Cool.
better, less puffy. I don't know.
Mm,
It used to be for me like I'm a super estrogen dominant person, so it used to be like I won't live without my DIM. I use a lot of Vitex for sure.
okay.
That one's pretty potent and effective, I would say. I would probably keep the Vitex before the probiotic.
Okay, there you go.
I'm not answering your question at
I
all.
know
I'm
that's
saying
okay.
like
It's
so
you can
I would
always have
say
the person who
I had
takes
to
a lot.
process that through. Like I like my
No,
Vitex
the
because I don't
Vitex
like
over the other.
hormonal symptoms. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, what is one lab test every woman should run?
One?
Yeah, if you were to choose just one, which one would it be? I know. That's hard.
Okay. I would say the Dutch panel
Mhm.
because I could work with nutrition without a food sensitivity test. And
Okay.
then I don't like to treat GI infections without testing at all. But if I got
Yeah.
to know the client and I got to see, like, if I got to know them, I could probably figure out what's going on. And I feel like I have like this weird connection with parasites. I know this sounds fucking insane, but I can
Mhm.
almost always like call it by the behaviors of my clients if they have
Really?
one. And I'm usually like 99.9% on. I
Ooh.
always say it's because I've had so many or something, I don't know, but I just had a client who's like, "It's mold," and she's like, "All," and I'm
Yeah.
like, "This girl's got a parasite," and sure enough, yesterday her lab came up, and I was like, "I knew it."
I knew it. I
So
knew it. You got a
yeah,
parasite antenna.
yeah, right.
I love it. Okay. And then last question. What is the last moment that reminded you why you do this work?
Ooh, best moment. Um, I was on a call with a client yesterday who has endometriosis,
Mm,
and she is out of pain for the first time in I
wow.
don't know how many years, a lot of years. And she saw the scale go down. I know the scale, I don't really emphasize a lot, but it's important to her and it's fine. She's not like,
Yeah.
but she's like, I haven't lost weight.
Yeah.
And she's like, I lost 5 pounds. So her diet was a little messy. I'm like, okay, I had to have the diet talk with her.
Right.
And she's cleaned it up and she's like, I'm down 5 pounds, like all her pain, and then her pain is gone. We haven't even like really got into the heart.
Oh my
So
gosh.
if I can,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
like it makes it
We
all
got her
worth
off some of the birth control that they put her on. So
it.
yeah, we'll
Mhm.
see
Oh my
how it
goodness.
goes.
That's
Yeah,
oh, I'm sure that
yeah,
definitely makes it all worthwhile, and then you completely changed the trajectory of her life too, and she's feeling like
yeah.
a new
I hope
woman.
so. Yeah, I
Aw,
hope
that's
so.
so
It
exciting.
gives you hope. It's those little things that give you hope
Yeah.
that
Oh my god.
that you're not broken. It's just like it's the worst feeling to think that you're broken.
Ex
Um,
That's yeah. Mm.
I think that's part of my relapse. Honestly, I think some of it too is like I went through the divorce and my hormones just got so bad. My PC, I couldn't. Even I was having trouble like kind of managing it. Um, and it turned out I had a really bad case of SIBO that I
Okay.
got from food poisoning, which I had never even had in my life either. And that flared everything up. And so, but like it just was, I just didn't want to deal with the hormone shit again. That's how I got into what I was doing. It's like years of feeling sick and
Mm.
in pain and bloated and like just periods all the time. And I think
Gosh.
that after my relapse, it just was like another way to check out.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know, I can't deal with it, but if I drink and then I forget about it, you know, which
Wow.
I think a lot of women do. It's like, I'm frustrated. I can't lose weight. Like, fuck it. I'm going to have a drink.
Yeah, nothing's working, so might as well just keep
Yeah.
spiraling downwards.
Yep. Why not?
I've heard that before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, okay. So Samantha, that was absolutely incredible. Like so many takeaways and helpful tips for
Oh,
everybody out
good.
there. Can you remind everybody where to follow you, find you online, your clarity call, all those things again?
I'm at CFit Living. So SEEFIT and then living. And then cfitliving.com is my website. And from there, you can book a clarity call. It's 45-minute call. And I do like a very intensive health history from like the day
Mm,
you were born until everything that's going on now. I was like, is this a therapy session? Because I ask
yeah,
about trauma and everything. So we go
yeah,
through all that. And then I kind of tell you a little bit about what I do and how I can help you or not. I'm not afraid to refer. I just referred someone out actually.
yeah.
It was a super, 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 super mold, mold, mold,
Mm,
mold. We're actually
yeah.
going to co-work.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, because I'm sure you could definitely come alongside with that. So, okay, well, good. So we'll make sure to drop those in the link, and then this
Thanks.
live will go inside Life Network as well. So those who cannot
Cool.
watch now will definitely be able to watch later, and reach out to Samantha, and she's inside Life Network as well too. So, and we'll look forward to just any other tips that she always seems to throw online as well as inside Life Network. So we're grateful for you for all that you do for everybody. Thank you, Samantha.
Oh, thanks for having me, Carrie. It's
Oh,
always
you
fun with
bet.
you.
Yes. So good. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.